In the past, traction discussions would have never come up over low horsepower mid-sized sleds. But in the day and age we're living in, 3/4 size sleds are pretty abundant. Now, I'm not talking about 5 studs per pitch and 8 inches of carbide in lower horsepower smaller sleds, but there is huge benefits to sending a rider out with the right amount of grip both front and rear. And with sleds like the Arctic Cat Blast, Yamaha Venom, and Polaris Indy EVO, there's a lot of riders who could benefit from a little extra confidence. With a sea of options out there when it comes to traction, I've looked to Woodies who are innovators in our industry and who provide a really simple to use and easy to understand online traction guide. The online guide will take into account your exact sled, the type of rider that you are, and then tailor your needs and provide suggestions for studding patterns, carbide length, as well as the proper quantities and item numbers to get the job done. Woodies recommends 96 studs down the center of the track with either a single washer or a double stack pattern, but for today, we're going to just use the good old single washer. The nice options from Woodies are the stud guides. It lays right over the track and then you can go to town with a marking pen knowing that you're getting the right spacing and you won't be drilling where you shouldn't or causing harm to the track. The studs that Woodies recommends for this sled are the Gold Digger Traction Master. Now the lug on this sled is only 0.91 of an inch, so we don't need a really tall stud. This Traction Master is 1.075 inches tall. The EVO uses a 2-ply 121-inch long track, so the Gold Digger Traction Master works perfectly here. It features a 1-inch wide base so it won't pull through, and has a 60-degree carbide insert at the top of its hardened steel structure. These studs are also designed with a special base shape that actually pinches the track rubber into the rounded recess on the base, acting almost like a beadlock on a tire. Its purpose is to keep the stud in the track even if you encounter abusive conditions where other studs may tend to pull through. The kit that I'm installing today comes with a standard round washer, but if you want a double washer or even a single washer, and then you can get both of those in multiple colors, you can do so you can customize your ride. Woodies even offers this cool angled washer that'll actually give the stud better penetration into the snow. We've installed 96 studs in our EVO track, and it's important to note that 96 studs is more than enough to help add that extra level of confidence for new or younger riders. Once we finish up, we have a young lady who's anxious to get out and see how the handling of this EVO has changed, so I better get the rest of this balanced traction package finished up. Now I need to make sure that I'm not causing the sled to push in the corners, because inevitably when you add studs, a deeper lug, or even a longer rail, you're going to cause the sled to want to drive through the corner, or what in the snowmobile industry we refer to as pushing. And the way to do that is with a proper carbide. I have 2 options to choose from here with me. The first is what Woodies recommends, and that's the Trailblazer 6-inch carbide runner. It has 6 inches of carbide insert and a single round host bar, and will have the ability to match the traction out back in a balanced package that won't allow the studs to overwhelm the skis in the corners. The second option that I have here is if you find your sled darting or wandering a bit in other single runner grooves on the trail. A carbide like this 4-inch dually can help to solve that problem by cutting 2 separate tracks per ski. There's a total of 4 inches of carbide on each blade, and because they spread out the load, there's less pressure on each carbide insert, causing them to last a little bit longer. Now I told you earlier that I had an anxious lady waiting to get this sled out on the snow, so I better do just that and let her tell us exactly what she thinks of the upgrades we put on her ride.
My old sled, which was the Freestyle, was pretty fun. I had a hard time giving it up, but now that I'm riding the Indy, I noticed before that it was getting really slippery because it didn't have any traction on it, and I didn't feel as much confident on it as I did with the Freestyle, which had studs, carbides on it. So now a year later, while I'm on the Indy EVO, the engine's a lot bigger, I'm riding a lot more confidently, but one thing that I noticed was the traction was not the best. I was always sliding, and it just wasn't very controlling for myself to ride aggressive because, you know, I like to rip on the corners. I like to really ride it. So now with the studs and the carbides onto it, I'm riding a lot more confidently, and it's a lot more safer because, well, there's traction. So now I'm riding a lot more aggressively along the corners, and I'm just having way more fun.
If you've enjoyed this video, make sure you click that like button. And we upload new content every week, so if you don't want to miss out on any of that stuff, make sure you subscribe so you get notifications whenever something new pops up.